Here we have two balloon chucks. So, in the words of Don Knotts, so what is a balloon chuck? Let me clarify this. So, balloon chucks are used to take a balance and burnish the pivots. So, it's a simple way of doing it. You can use a J-Cot tool to do the same thing, but if you want to do it in a lathe, you should use a balloon chuck. So I just received these, and I've got to tell you, I'm not an expert in balloon chucks. This is actually the first time I've used them. I've read about them. I understand what they're for. These are Lathe balloon chucks, as you can see, the lid. So they're very nice. They should provide good security for the balance as it's spinning. So what I'm going to do is take a balance and set it up in the balloon chuck, and then spin it and see what kind of how much of the pivot sticks out the end of the balloon chuck, and just see if I can set this up properly. This is probably everybody that does watch repair at one point in time when they use a new tool or whatever ends up fumbling around for a while until they figure out the process. So there, so I've got an old chunk of Rodico here, and it's holding the balance, so I don't have to worry about the just aligning it properly with the tweezers. So let me just get this set up in here. Alright. Loosen that up a bit. Not sure if the camera is catching any of this. There, I'm not going to put that. This is in the way. I'm kind of missing the 3D part of this. I've only got 2D happening here. Now I got to find the hole inside the balloon chuck and get this to fit into the hole. This is harder than I thought. So maybe I just throw it in like that. So I've got the balance just sort of sitting in there. And then I just grab it with the tweezers and move it around until it finds the hole. Oh, okay. There, it fell into the hole. I'm going to use a piece of Rodico because the Rodico actually sticks to the balance properly, so it doesn't rock back and forth, because this is what's happening is the balance is rocking all over the place. It's a rock and roll balance. And there. Okay, so there I've got the balance now stuck in there, and as you can see, it's pretty good. It's done in there now. And I believe I've got to tighten this up here, which tightens the staff in place. There we go. Now hopefully this will stay. Now if you look really close, you'll see the end of the right there, you'll see the pivot sticking out on this plate. So I've got it in position, as you can see. So the best way of doing this was to throw the balance inside. Use a piece of Rodico to align it with the hole. Use the top of your finger to push down, and there's a little mini spring here to push down on it until you've aligned until you've got the other end of the pivot inside there, and then make sure it's tight. Now this is going to be spinning, so you have to make sure that the balance is fairly tight in position, so you don't want the balance to be spinning, so the balance staff stays in place. So as you burnish it, it's not rotating inside. Now if it does rotate inside, it shouldn't be that much of a concern. So now I'm going to rotate this until I find it's seating inside the there it is there, and then I tighten that up a bit and then rotate it again. And you can see it there, and I'm not sure if I can get the right camera angle. There's a pivot. The pivot's sticking out right here, so right where my fingernail is. And so I've got my burnishing tool here. There we go there. So I'm going to make sure I get the right side. Okay, this is the burnishing side. The other side was the file side. Now, I remember watching videos of Bun Special where he's burping and stuff, and I laughed my butt off. But so this here, so you can see that the pivot is right there. Hopefully you can see that pivot right there. So when I spin this, I'm going to be scraping back and forth here. So what I want to make sure I have is some oil on there. So you don't want to burnish anything without the oil. So, and the pivot's sticking out, and I could probably use the flat side of the burnishing tool, like the angled 90-degree angled side, because I'm not too worried about the balance staff, and as it progressively sort of slopes outward. So I'm going to spin this thing, and like I said, this is a practice balance staff, so I would be working from underneath like this, and I can actually feel it here a bit. And there we go. So you go back and forth here, and then you're taking some material off of the pivot. There we go. Alright, so that's all I'll do for now. So I noticed that there's a bit of a dome on the balloon chuck, and that's the dome is there, so as you can see when you align the burnisher against it like this, that you're pretty much only getting the surface of this dome, the top of the dome hitting the burnisher. So it's not fighting against the surface here. You get pretty good contact with that. And as you spin it, you don't have to spin it at great speeds, because it's like the J-Cot tool. When you're using a J-Cot tool, you're trying to do the work with a J-Cot tool and not over spin it. You're spinning it with a bow, so you're spinning it probably about that fast and then moving it back and forth like this. So you could also reduce the size of the pivot with this too. It actually is pretty good because you can do some very fine work with that. So that is a balance chuck. That's kind of how you set it up. So I'm going to do that again. I just drop it into the area, and then I use some Rodico to stabilize it. I lower the plunger on it, then I tighten the this lever here, the screw here, which tightens the balance chuck. And as you can see, if I can get inside here, you'll see the balance is sitting in there nicely, and we'll see if I can. I'm not sure why I'm doing this, but there we go. And it'd be nice if it would focus. The world would be nice with focusing. There we go. So you can see the balance sitting in there, and it's when you spin this sucker, there you go. So it's spinning the complete balance in there, and then you're able to focus on the end here where the pivot sticks out right by my finger. So anyway, so that's how you use a balloon chuck. Again, this is the first time I've used one. These I just bought these. I got them from Dave's Watch Parts, and so it's pretty good, excellent service, excellent watch parts, and these are quality balloon chucks. The one I'm using is a bigger one. Then there's a set of two, as you saw earlier, and they're used for watches and pocket watches. I don't think I could get a size. I think this is a size. No, this is a size 18 balance that I have in there. Size 12 balance would be a lot 16 or a 12 would be a lot smaller than that. So anyway, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully it was a little bit useful. I've read a lot in the books on how to use a lathe and balance chucks, but there's not a lot of information telling you how to actually set it up. But again, if you use it, if you just pretend all this is just the same as a J-cot tool, and all you're doing is now using your lathe to spin the balance as opposed to using a bow, and the balance is absolutely secure in the balance chuck as opposed to the J-cot where the pivot sort of rests in a groove, and then you have to ensure that if it pops out of that groove, you've got other issues. So so that's the one side of the J-cot tool when you're burnishing the pivot. The other side of the J-cot tool does have these little holes where you can stick the pivot through and do what you're doing here. But again, you've got a lot of control with the I got a variable foot pedal here, and so I can make sure the speed is right. You don't want to spin it like this, because then your pivot will be gone in 5 seconds. So thanks for watching. This is how to use a balloon chuck, a Lathe balloon chuck.